What's up, everybody? I'm Nick Irwin, and this is Beyond the Ballot, the show where I spotlight people taking action, philosophy, real-world solutions, and anything else that can make a difference outside of the masturbatory action of participating in the political circus. All right, before we get started, got to thank my Beyond the Ballot super supporters, Maxwell, Dave, Dennis, and Chuck. Welcome, Chuck. Also, the show is produced at the producer level on Patreon by Dave, Dennis, and Chuck. I really appreciate you guys. With Chuck coming in, guess what? I'm going to hit that goal to buy that camera equipment. So hopefully, just in time for election riots and all that crazy shit, I'll be out there with a motherfucking camera, bringing it to you on Beyond the Ballot. All right, today we got Erin and Kingsley Edwards of the Flote app on. It was a really great episode. They're great people, lots of fun to talk about, and we're asking for help getting Kingsley's dad, who was unjustly imprisoned for nonsense, helping getting him out. So listen to the episode, check the description. You're going to find a way that you can help, and everybody and his whole family would really appreciate it. But let's jump into the episode, and you can find out exactly how to do that. Enjoy. Beyond the Ballot is officially sponsored by Project Sparta. Now's the time to get healthy and in shape. Greg Papanicholas is going to get you there with personalized meal plans, training, group support, and tons of amazing fitness and motivational resources and knowledge, including the Project Sparta Facebook group. You can go to projectspartacoaching.com and learn more about Greg's work and get started on your path to health. In this crazy world we're living in, our health is more important than ever. Get up, start learning, communicating, and training. One of the most important and often neglected things in life is your physical health. Get to projectspartacoaching.com now and get after it. Shout out to Voluntary Apothecary. Voluntary Apothecary is here to fulfill all of your beard care needs. They carry beard oil, mustache wax, beard butter, and more. I only use their beard care products, and I love them. You can check out their amazing products at voluntарyapothecary.com, and listeners of the show can take 10% off your order with code BEYOND at checkout.
Professional anarchists.
You guys are getting paid?
All right, we're back again for another episode of Beyond the Ballot, and today I'm joined with Kingsley and Erin Edwards from Flote fame, among other things. How's it going, y'all?
Great. How are you?
Doing good. Recording in the evening. I like it. It's a little different. Usually record in the morning, but I'm more awake now, so that's good. Yeah. So you guys tell everybody about Flote, because like I said beforehand, I know there's people listening who don't know what Flote is, anything about it. Let's get the quick crash course and y'all's role in Flote.
Yeah. So I'm the CEO of Floats, and really we're a social network that values our users, and we promote, we support free speech. So we have our site we launched last year. We have our apps out, and we're growing. There's a big battle right now, it seems like, for free speech online. And all of a sudden it's become like controversial to support free speech, even though all these big tech platforms did so, even just years ago. So now it's, a lot of the tech companies seem to be getting involved with politics, and there seems to be some weird, underlying agenda that a lot of us, especially like in the Ron Paul days, we saw this kind of coming. So here it is. And it seems like they're putting, the pedal to the metal as far as trying to gain control of the narrative and just communication online. So we created Flote to basically offer an alternative for people so they can, communicate freely without having getting
30-day bans.
Yeah, 30-day bans or getting demonetized or kicked off of YouTube. One of our good friends, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media, just got kicked off a couple of days ago. He had 155,000 subs. He's been building his channel since for
7 years ago.
Over 7 years. And they didn't even give him a reason at first. When he asked for a reason, they said because it was bullying, and they pulled out a comment that he made, and he basically said that the Hollywood aristocrats basically look down on us or something like that, and they call that bullying. And
it was directed towards Amy Schumer.
Yeah.
So he called Amy Schumer an aristocrat and got his whole YouTube channel taken down, deleted, just for that one comment.
And he had already been demonetized before. So it's, so, these things don't make any sense. This is, a lot of people were saying this was like a conspiracy, even just like a year ago, even when we launched. I was talking to more mainstream like investors or content creators, and they're like, I don't, they didn't really believe us. But now
we thought we were going to come off like too polarizing.
Yeah.
And now it's like people are getting deleted left and right for saying just absolute nonsense on these mainstream channels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to offer a place. I mean, really, even for just us to use, because we're researchers. We typically, barely believe in the mainstream narrative when it comes to anything going on with current events. And I just started noticing, as a YouTube, user myself, I don't follow CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, any of these mainstream outlets.
But yet they're the only ones. I mean, if you look up anything on YouTube nowadays, the only thing that populates in the feed is mainstream media channels.
Yeah.
So
it was kind of frightening to see how, first of all, everybody was getting demonetized and shadow banned and just outright banned. And then actually the people that were staying on, they would have to change the words that they were saying. They'd have to come up with code words just to talk about police brutality or the government or any of these things. It's pretty frightening. I mean, honestly, people just are like, oh, well, it's just a private company doing this, doing that, which I agree. I mean, private companies should be able to do whatever they want, but there's definitely some sort of, coordination here when you see these content creators that are getting kicked off from all the major platforms all at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, even look at the big tech censorship of this Hunter Biden story.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the biggest news publications in the world got censored off of big tech because, Facebook literally said that we will not release this information until our fact checkers can fact check this information.
Yeah. And you see even the president, I don't support, I don't like the president, but you see his tweets unavailable or his son tweets unavailable. So it's it's very strange. And again, a lot of us saw this coming. So we just wanted to throw our hat in the ring as far as offering an alternative because, we support it. We support, people being able to communicate with each other. But also, I think it's a business opportunity when it comes to this big sea of people that are on these big tech platforms. And now anyone from an anarchist to a conservative, basically,
they see their news feeds and it's just, I've never seen so much outcry about people wanting to leave the Facebook and Twitter. I mean, every day I log on and my Facebook news feed is just 10 posts back to back of people saying, where are you guys going? What's the next big platform? So, I mean, the time is now. It kind of feels like that. Well, definitely a more polarized time, but between MySpace and Facebook, it's just time for Facebook to be phased out and have a new platform or several new platforms come in and do it right.
Yeah.
Stop taking advantage of the user.
And it seems like Flote is kind of all-inclusive platform. Someone the other day when I was on there posting something, I can't remember what I was posting, probably something for the show, and about Patreon told me that I could set up kind of a subscription service like Patreon through Flote as well. And that's pretty cool. And so then you got people with videos and people doing your regular social media interactions and whatnot. It's really neat. And I like that you brought up the kind of transition between MySpace and Facebook. And because it's happening now, but from Facebook everywhere, like you said. So what's your plan to attract people to Flote? Because with all the features and without censorship and being an actual private company, not a quote unquote private company like Facebook, because there's a million reasons why they aren't. Jeremy Harding from Jeremiah Talks and Sandy is Free, all his different projects, did a really great, probably a few really great pieces on that. And it's not a fucking private company by any stretch at this point. And, you know, if they want to make it, if they want to regulate, if the state wants to regulate it like a utility, that's even scarier. But anyways, what's the plan to scoop everybody up from that MySpace to Facebook, from that Facebook to Flote transition?
Yeah, so our strategy really is to focus on content creators. And any, like, you know, before when we first launched, we were kind of more afraid to be a little too, you know, like too polarizing when it comes to, you know, what we talk about. Now we're a little bit more open because we recognize that the opportunity is there. You know, like I mentioned before, anyone from like a anarchist to a Trump conservative, as far as people that are concerned about free speech, which is more than enough people in the world to support, you know, Flote as a platform, and even other platforms too, if they want to join multiple or just, you know, some of the alternatives. So so the difference with Flote is that, you know, I have an experience with cryptocurrency dating back to 2013. And so what we're really focused on doing is making these payment channels and monetization for content creators where we don't take a cut. So by connecting advertiser to user or user to user, like a Patreon model, like you mentioned, you know, we don't sit in there as a middleman. So a content creator can take 100% of the revenue that they generate. And we have some other ways to monetize ourselves as far as a business. But yeah, that's, you know, that's really the focus, you know, moving forward. And we have the Patreon model right now. We're going to be launching ads here, you know, this year for content creators,
premium feature subscriptions, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So our big thing is, hey, you know, hey, if we may not have as big as community, obviously, as some of the big tech platforms, but we have a small community, kind of a more targeted community that cares about what's going on right now in the world. And you know, we support free speech, and, you know, bring your content over here because, you know,
you can keep 100% of your revenue. So
hypothetically, you know, if you're able to bring all your followers over from these other big tech platforms over to Flote, eventually you will make, you know, double the money that you are currently. So that's really our focus is on the content creators.
That's a great idea. Yeah, because like you said, they're going to bring people with them, and everybody and their brother and their mother and whoever else is making content now. So snagging that demographic, genius.
Yeah.
And everybody's intaking content as well. Hopefully more people intake this content, but I'll talk about that later. Anyways, so how many people do you have in Flote right now?
Yeah, we're almost at 20,000. So we're still small, but we are growing about like on average about 20% month over month. We're hoping to bump up those numbers significantly. We're currently we're still fundraising, so we've been kind of like at a pre-seed level as far as startups are concerned up until now, where we're looking to we've been raising some seed capital. So yeah, we're going to be deploying, you know, obviously on the development side, we're deploying more features. We're really going for kind of more of a full suite of like Facebook features as we move forward and add things to Flote. And then, you know, obviously, you know, a lot too, we're going to be putting into marketing. So it's been kind of like a beta for like the last year. And now we're slowly working our way out of that. And we have some big announcements planned for the rest of the year. So
awesome.
We're excited to basically, you know, keep just keep going on.
Heck yeah. I'm excited to see all that stuff. I'm excited to take advantage of the platform more and do more of the content creation, move it over that way, because I don't like the way that a lot of stuff on Patreon works. You know, being an anarchist, the tax side of things and all that stuff, of course, that's no fun. But so I'm curious, it's a huge undertaking to build a fucking social media network. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So when did this start? Like, how did it start? When did it start? And what were both of your roles in it at the very inception of it?
Yeah. So initially, actually, I was building a crypto wallet that was like geared towards just like privacy coins and tokens, and just really focused on like a privacy only crypto wallet. We ended up getting into Boost VC, And then Erin actually started developing like really good relationships with a lot of content creators that I've been watching, you know, for years. And we just started noticing that, you know, this type of thing was happening. I tried to switch over from the big tech platforms to other smaller platforms in 2018. And I just realized like things were too buggy. There wasn't the community there. There just wasn't, you know, it just didn't seem like there was something significant where I could even feel comfortable trying to move people over to these other platforms. So we figured, you know, we would put our, like I said, our hat in the ring and try it ourselves. Yeah, I mean, everyone, you know, kind of warns you, especially in the tech world, like social networks being one of the hardest things to accomplish as far as being successful.
Honestly, it just blows my mind at like how much goes into building a social media. I mean, like we thought we had it covered, you know, like talking it out in the first, like when we started to kind of hash out the idea and we're like, okay, we got this. And then just like learning along the way has just been like, oh, wow. Like I didn't even think about this. Yeah. But it's been a really good learning experience. And, you know, it's been hard, but it's definitely been worth it. Like the community that we've built over the last year has just been incredible and so supportive. And, you know, people have been waiting for a platform where they can use peer-to-peer payments, and it's only going to get better. So that's all. I'm really excited to see how the next year goes.
Yeah. And one of the big things too is one of our friends, Josh, he, you know, before they kicked him off of YouTube just this week, but they demonetized him. And he was, you know, he spent like, you know, like Erin said, like 7 years building up his community over at YouTube. He finally started making a decent income from the ad revenue, where he was just able to like, you know, fully focus on what he was doing there.
Building content.
And then all of a sudden, you know, they just demonetize him again for, you know, no real justification. So, you know, we're activists. I mean, at the end of the day, we, you know, we're definitely activists, and have, especially myself, you know, since like 2007 or 8. And so, you know, we just wanted to build this alternative because we felt that it was really important, not only for the community, but even for ourselves. Like, you know, there's things that we want to share that now, you know, tracked or not tracked, but caught on from the algorithms on these big tech platforms.
Yeah.
So we need as many alternatives as possible when it comes to privacy and free speech, and in both software and hardware now. And I think we've been kind of, you know, a bit lazy as anarchists or libertarians in letting, I mean, I know like we, you know, obviously like we've helped get the word out as far as the internet and cryptocurrency is concerned, sure. But there's, you know, a social network. I mean, we need people to stick up for our, you know, basically our online rights in a way. Same thing on the hardware side. You know, you're starting to see some companies start to develop more privacy oriented hardware. So right. The threat is, I mean, real when it comes to, you know, the collusion when it comes to big tech, and also big tech involved with the government. And
look what they're doing right now on the election side.
It's insane.
Like they're paying people to deactivate their Facebook pages for the election. Like, what?
It's just wild.
It's crazy. But, you know, like, yeah. You know, like, that's not at all what social networks should be used for.
Right. No, it's super insane. And next week I'm going to be diving into, you know, after the censorship of the New York Post article, next week on the show, I'm going to dive into how money's always flowed through Ukraine. Well, not always, but for quite a long time. And then the rabbit hole that led me on. And it's just insane that the biggest social media platforms aren't allowing that information out before this election. It's just been bugging me like crazy, especially going down that rabbit hole. And the fact that I had to search out the article somewhere else other than popping up in my usual anarchist news feed, you know, with the people who like to share this kind of news. And thinking about, well, I just have a few clicks in and my mind is being blown. And other people could do this if it wasn't being censored, and people could know this shit. But yeah, it's fucking crazy. Also, don't worry about the dog barking. That's kind of a thing on this show. It's either my dogs or the guests' dogs barking. This is a dog-friendly show. We love them. Last episode was for National Pitbull Month.
Like she's like,
oh, your cat's barking.
Yeah, we have a pitbull too. So
nice, awesome. No, so you all probably have. Well, let's get back to people getting kicked off for no reason or stupid reasons like, you know, bullying Amy Schumer or whatever. I got the Discord server back when this show was called Enemy of the State Stank Pod Stash got, I think the server's still there, but I got permabanned from Discord out of the blue. I just got an email and I was like, what the fuck? So I don't have access to that anymore. And they just said it was a terms of service violation, and I hadn't been on there for months. It was kind of a dead server, and it came out of nowhere, but it happened right in the middle of the Boogaloo purge. And that, I was in other Boogaloo servers and talking with people about that. There were no threats of violence or anything like against terms of service made, but that's something that was fucking crazy, because that's a huge movement with tons and tons of people, very decentralized, and now it's just cut off so much communication, so much community between these people, and it's just, I'm wondering if you guys saw a spike in Boogaloo content.
I mean, not really. I mean, we have our, you know, a couple people that I would say, you know, maybe push some memes or post, you know, some things. And yeah, it's actually surprising that we haven't, you know, gotten more, but, you know, a lot of times too, I mean, people are still, they're like, okay, yeah, we'll go to Discord or we'll go to Telegram without realizing that, yeah, I mean, people are getting, or you know, my favorite one is when they're like, I'm done with Facebook, I'm going to Instagram. It's like, you know, these people, there's still some sort of
there's a cognitive dissonance between, like, they don't, maybe it's not public knowledge as much as we think, but Facebook owns Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger, you know, it's like, and then all these people, you know, who use WhatsApp, they're like, oh, it's encrypted. I'm like, it's Facebook. Like, how are you going to sit here and trust that? Just because it's encrypted, it doesn't mean anything.
No, it's wild.
Yeah, so yeah, there's like a cognitive dissonance for most people.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's just so crazy. And speaking, you mentioned Telegram too, and these encrypted apps. I've been chasing people off of Telegram and Signal lately after finding out that they've, you know, given information to the government from, albeit insurgents in other countries and whatnot. But still, you know, they have a way to figure out who you are and turn over your information. As far as like encrypted, Keybase, I think, has one of the best pedigrees for full encryption. Now, is Flote an encryption? Is there encryption with Flote or anything? What's the privacy like with Flote?
Yeah, we have our messaging is 256 bit, so the same as you would say, like, you know, Signal. I think the same as Keybase too. But yeah, I'm kind of worried actually after Keybase got acquired by Zoom. I kind of worry there because we know that Zoom has been censoring people as well. So yeah, in the goal too is also to make some other aspects of Flote encrypted, like private accounts. So yeah, you know, that's really our focus is like user privacy and creator monetization, and just offering a place for people to speak freely. You know, we are US based company, and none of our team wants to go to prison for you know, something that's stupid that's posted or said on Flote. So we do have to follow US law. But at the same time, I mean, really, you know, it's not really the law that's getting involved with all what's going on with big tech right now. It's mostly just big tech going up above and beyond. And just, you know, whatever they're doing now, it's hard to even explain, but obviously it's just, you know, it's censorship. So that's really our main focus. And, you know, the big thing with us is that we are voluntarists. Most of our team is made up of voluntarists, and even the ones that aren't, you know, they just support free speech. We're not really, you know, we are doing some cool things when it comes to peer-to-peer technology, when it comes to encryption and payments and, you know, cryptocurrency, which I think makes us stand out. But at the end of the day, you know, we're really just rewinding the clock about 5 years when everybody was able to kind of share things on these big tech platforms
and see things that were posted on the big tech platforms. I mean, we don't have any algorithms, and all of our timelines are chronological. So kind of like what you see at that moment is what you get. And you can scroll and see everything that was chronologically posted. Unfortunately, I can't see half of what my friends post on Facebook. It's, you know, it's awful, but it's kind of the truth.
Yeah.
So that was something that was really important to us, is doing chronological timelines and no algorithms.
Yeah, that's great. And why Facebook and other platforms don't do that, I have no idea. It's the most fucking annoying thing ever. So it's definitely good to see
Well,
you guys doing
Facebook
that
gives
with
you the
Flote.
option.
Well, they just started.
Yeah.
Well, no, they've always given you the option to go chronological, but it always toggles back.
Right.
Like it never sticks.
Well, I know for a while they actually didn't even give you the option, but now they just reintroduced it, as far as I know. But yeah, and that's an annoying thing too. It's like you go on these social platforms, you're looking to see like kind of what's new, what people are talking about, all this, and now like, I'm still on Facebook. I'm still on these other platforms. I actually just got like a community guideline strike or whatever the other, or was it yesterday, for just like jokingly saying something to my friend that you could have taken it as a threat, but we're friends. Sure. It's a joke. And so we hid this from, whatever.
Yeah, for inciting violence.
But yeah, it's these apps, they used to be a real good, communication tool, have become basically, not very friendly at all. So, but it helps us. This type of thing used to piss me off. And now I'm like, every day that I see all these articles that are talking about these big tech platforms, I'm like, hey, they just, they make the case even better. And another reason to join Flote.
That's true. That's definitely true. So it seems like maybe anarchist libertarians, the liberty movement in general, might just be the loudest about being censored. I don't know if they are the most censored of any other, let's say, political demographic or not. But you guys have your finger on the pulse of this kind of stuff with social media. Do you think that liberty movement type people are being censored more than other groups, or do you think there's other groups equally or more censored?
I don't know.
I mean, I would definitely say liberty groups, but I would say, on the same, probably the same would be like, yeah, anyone from, Republican to a Trump supporter seems to be getting censored now. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know how to, I kind of think that, that the game is rigged anyway when it comes to government. So I'm not sure like what the end game is, as far as maybe they're just trying to, create this polarizing type of environment so that people, obviously fight against each other and whatever. But yeah, that, that's again, that's like kind of our target demographic that we're going after, is anyone that, cares about what's going on right now with big tech.
Yeah.
That's good. And there needs to be a spot for people to remain in communication with one another, because like I mentioned with the whole Boogaloo censorship, it's left such an empty feeling after being big into that community, and it's evolved since then, and there's shitty people on the fringe and stuff like that, but there were really good people that I met through that I haven't talked to or found again. And it's important to have a space like you guys are providing for staying in communication, especially now, just because, like I mentioned before, looking into this Ukrainian Biden stuff and being a part of that Boogaloo movement and whatnot, it's more important than ever before shit really hits the fan to stay in communication. So I encourage everybody. I know some people that are listening to the show, but if you don't have the show, a Flote account, you should get one and get on there with us. And I also just get on every alternative platform. I just want to be out there so people can find me. And maybe we can make them not alternative platforms. I think that's an important thing. I actually need to throw up my Flote username and whatnot on the green screen at some point here. Maybe I'll do that before I put this one out. But I'm non-voting Nick everywhere, and Beyond Ballot Pod everywhere as well. But yeah, we need to bring people over, because I know it really sucks to start to feel alone and isolated in the face of more and more crazy shit happening here, when you've had a group of people that you can feel protected with, people that do want to do gun training and meet up in groups for things like that.
I couldn't imagine feeling so isolated and alone. Like when I first started kind of diving into the libertarian stuff, like I was a Democrat, and like once you're in between, I feel like political ideologies or wherever you are, like it's a very lonely spot. You're kind of just very confused and yeah, feeling alone. And so imagine like just feeling that way and being censored and not really having a place to go to find the information that you need. I mean, that's got to be a horrible feeling. So, that's a huge reason why King and I are also very receptive on Flote. So if you send us a message, most of the time we will answer very, very quickly. We know what it's like to kind of feel that feeling. And like, we don't ever want anyone to feel like a black sheep or like they don't have a home. So that's really important to us over at Flote.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, especially now. Imagine getting banned from all your Facebook-owned social media if you're someone who's, not going anywhere because of coronavirus or whatever. There's no events you can go to and see your friends and stuff like that, and then you're cut off from social media. Terrible. So get the fuck on Flote. All right. Yeah. So
yeah, and we also have a. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and also one of the cool features on Flote that is simple, but I like it, is that you're able to list all your other social media, or even like there are a bunch of different things on your profile. So we have these things called social buttons where you can put your Twitter or your library or your Minds or whatever. And it's just all there on your Flote profile. So it's kind of like a friendly
on a clickable link.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a friendly, homepage and list for people that do follow you to be able to find you on other platforms.
Yeah. And something also beneficial about Flote is the login sign up process is so simple. A lot of platforms require your phone number and, just like vital pieces of your identity that we don't really need. All you need to sign up for Flote is just an email and a password. That's it. You don't need your first name. You don't need your last name. That's it.
Perfect. Yeah, and with Facebook requiring IDs and whatnot to keep pages and everything, that's not fishy at all. They're not looking into me or putting me on the list.
Right.
All right. Well, I'm glad I don't have to give you my driver's license. Okay, so do you guys have like any videos or articles or anything that people can get to have their own little crash course, like get introduced around Flote, how to use it? You have intro stuff?
Yeah, we have some stuff that we made, and we also have some a lot of content creators like yourself have made kind of videos even for us without even asking, which is great.
Yeah, I have a YouTube playlist of a lot. I should just make that public, so I'll go ahead and probably do that after this podcast.
Sweet. Awesome. Yeah, I'll try to get those from you and any I can find and link them in the show description so people can get a crash course and get on there and get moving with it as well. Yeah, we're about halfway through. What? Give me anything else that you're excited about with Flote.
There's a lot that we're excited about. We actually, so a big part of what we're doing too is trying to be, interoperable with other platforms out there. So, filling in that gap or creating that bridge from Flote to other platforms, even the big tech platforms, just to create an easy way for people to switch over. So for instance, right now we have it so that you can link your Twitter to your Flote account. So if you post to Flote, it'll auto post to Twitter, which is nice. We just launched, but we haven't announced yet, but it is available in your settings, where you can import, you can actually download your Facebook data, your posts, pictures, and videos from, for however long you've been on there. And you can import it to your Flote account so that you don't lose that data, just in case if you want to delete your Facebook or if you get kicked off.
At least you have it.
Yeah, it could be there on Flote. So that's nice. We're also looking to do that with other platforms too, with the alternative platform. So next up, we'll probably make it so that when you post a video, it can get posted to YouTube, but also Library
and Odyssey.
Odyssey. And then also, if there's a bunch of different things where we can kind of basically communicate, especially with these alternative platforms, so that more content's on Flote, and so there's just more things to engage with, both on and off the platform. So that's one of the things that we're really excited about. As far as like ad monetization for content creators, we have a lot of content creators that are very excited for that, especially ones that have had a large following on YouTube, and they really they might post on BitChute or Library, but they're not making nearly as much as they were on YouTube. So we're looking forward to building that out for them. And what else do we have going on? We're going to be introducing groups here soon this year. So we're putting together the final concept for that, and we'll be launching that.
And we're looking at adding different cryptocurrencies onto our Flote wallet as well. So right now we support Bitcoin and Bitcoin only, but we will be looking at other avenues of of currencies to add on there.
Yeah,
Nice.
including stable coins for people that don't want to participate in like the volatility of cryptocurrency. So I think stable coins offer, again, kind of like that bridge for people to move over and start using crypto versus bank accounts or PayPal, where again, people are getting their bank account shut down, they're getting their PayPal shut down. So the more that we move off of kind of these decentralized, censorship resistant technologies, the better, for really humanity.
Yeah.
And just taking away that power from these centralized authoritarian, powers and bringing it back to the people, which is what all this technology, what the internet was really, created for, and what's one of the great use cases for cryptocurrency in the internet. So
that all sounds.
I think that's the fact that so many different payment processors. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say that all sounds awesome, because you see, like, Facebook saying we're rolling out new features, and they're all just little bullshit. But this is exciting stuff. I'm really excited for the groups feature on Flote as well, because I have a pretty awesome idea for a group that I was just going to start on Facebook, but I knew would probably get taken off. So I'll start that on Flote. When does that come out, the group feature again?
We can, we're hoping to probably get it out, let's say by mid-November to end November.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm still gathering data for that. Stay tuned for that, Beyond the Ballot fans. But yeah, those are like serious things that are not just serious, but interesting and fun features that you're adding to this, instead of you get a new fucking stupid react on your post likes and whatnot, which is fun, but fuck that compared to maybe privacy coin payments and stuff, because I'm all about the privacy coins. Are you guys looking into those at all, adding those on?
Absolutely.
100%.
Fuck yeah.
Yep. Big fan of privacy coins. Yep, absolutely.
Awesome. That's awesome. All right, so let's take it down a more serious path, because like I said, I want to drum up attention to the other issue we were going to talk about, and I'll let you explain that, Kingsley. It's your father and what's going on with that.
Yeah, so my father, Michael Edwards, he got in trouble in 1992. He was sentenced in 1993 for a small amount of cocaine, less than $850 worth. They say that's like less than a tablespoon worth of cocaine. It happened in Florida. I was a child. I was seven at the time. It was nonviolent. He was involved with kind of, the cocaine cowboy type thing was still happening in Southern Florida, back then. So he did get involved with, I'd say kind of, the wrong crowd, but at the same time, nonviolence, man, smart man, intelligent man, just got involved with the wrong business. And he, so he got a 60-year sentence for a small amount of cocaine. It was his third drug offense. Before they were more lenient on him. But the judge basically, threw the book at him back then,
and told him that he needed to be separated away from society for as long as possible.
Yeah. Jesus. So just crazy stuff. I mean, he's been in behind bars for 27 years now, and we've been fighting ever since he went in to get him out. Now we're at a new stage of development now, where we have a lot of support from both people inside and outside of the government that support his release, including the prosecuting attorney that helped put him behind bars, where he's just now saying that the time doesn't fit the crime. Mm-hmm. We had a hearing where we thought that the clemency board hearing on September 23rd, where I thought that, a lot of us thought that he was finally going to have his day and get released. But unfortunately, we're dealing with the government now, and they didn't do their job, obviously. So they're supposed to basically do research before this hearing, and basically give a verdict as whether they're going to release him or not. They said they needed more time. Of course, the inefficiencies of government. So here we are. They said after this hearing, they said that they would need 2 more weeks. It has now been almost a month later. But we're still remaining positive. It still seems like he will, possibly be released, which is good, but it's just, it's taking more time, and every day that he's behind bars is just, it seems like
another waste. It's just a waste of time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just seems like a lifetime to him, obviously. So yeah, here we are. We've been trying to, create we have a change.org petition where we have almost 10,000 people that have signed.
Nice.
So we've been asking all of our Facebook friends, all of our Flote fam, the change.org signers to basically send a polite email to the clemency board. Maybe, we can share that information with you. You can post it with this. Yeah. And just realizing, a lot of like anarchists and libertarians are like, well, don't even mess with the government. I mean, you have to understand this is basically like a terrorist hostage situation right now. So we need polite emails that get sent out to these people because, really they, my father's, his life
is in their hands.
Yeah.
Right.
His life is on the line. So, yeah, we're trying to do whatever we can. And that's basically the easiest way for people to help and get involved. And it just, it really means a lot. It only takes really, the email just has to basically state his name, his inmate number. So his name is Michael Edwards again. His inmate number is 717273, and just state, hey, I support this man's release. The sentence is way too much.
The time the crime doesn't fit the time.
Yeah.
Right.
And right now, if he got caught for the same thing, he may be sentenced for like 3 to 5 years. Whereas he got, 60 years.
Which is a life sentence. I mean, when you're sentenced, he was a little bit, I think like 30 years old when he was sentenced. I mean, like a 60-year sentence on a 30-year-old man is a life sentence for $850 worth of cocaine. Like the judge who actually sentenced him actually got, was it disbarred? Or he got,
yeah, probably. Yeah.
Anyway, he got busted on a prostitution charge.
Imagine
and it's
that.
just like,
and for being intoxicated and fighting with the cops when I guess they were arresting him for the prostitution, which, hey, prostitution, as long as it's, consensual, whatever. But this is the same guy that, put my father behind bars. Yeah. For nonviolent crime.
Yeah, it is.
It's just
so it's just another one of those things, with the government's, interfering with
the same people that make up the clemency board. It's like, what mistakes did you make when you were in your 20s and 30s?
Or now, probably,
Yeah, if we're talking cocaine amounts in 20s and whatnot, I'd be away for probably a good 1,000 years or so. But Jesus, it's just terrible. And people, I believe that the listeners of this show and anybody else who reaches out can absolutely send a polite email. Everybody cleans up real nice when it comes to stuff like this and free Ross and stuff like that. It's definitely possible. I'll make sure that you guys send me either on some messaging app or email me the info, and I'll put all that in the description too. So if you're listening now, go in the description and do that and send an email. I'll make sure to write one and send one as well. And yeah, I mean, if anyone blames you for having to deal with the state in this matter, what are you going to do? Are they showing up to fucking break down the prison walls and go get him out or something? Like, this is something that has to happen. Fuck those people. It's not a bad thing, no matter what you call yourself, to get the people you love out of the clutches of the state. And if this is the way, this is the way.
Exactly.
That's...
Yeah, I mean, believe me, if there was another way, we'd do it. But, at the end of the day, we have to play their game to get them free. Yeah.
And this could be, I mean, really like the last opportunity for 10 years or even his, full sentence. So it's like the timing is crucial. We're hoping to hear back, this week. We've now said that for the last, couple weeks.
It should be getting there tomorrow, but I just sent the governor of Florida and the clemency board 600 pages from our change.org petition of just outcries of support for Michael's release. And so that they have to sign for them. So hopefully it reaches them. Hopefully their aide just doesn't sign it and throw it in the garbage. But, we're doing everything we can. I'm calling weekly, getting these emails. I think the more we get Michael's name in front of them, in front of their faces, the better. I think the more noise surrounding Michael's case, the better it is for his release.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to bring it to the forefront. That seems to be working in a lot of cases. Yeah. So the delay, they said they needed more time. What the fuck could they possibly need more time for? Or is it like a COVID shutdown thing? Or what are they doing?
So this is what really pissed me off. So I stayed up all night because it was actually my birthday when this hearing was. So I was like, man, what a great birthday present, right?
It's such a good omen.
Yeah. And so it was like the hearing was at 8 a.m. on the East Coast. So I stayed up till like 5 a.m. on the West Coast because I was so excited. They did have my grandmother and my aunt and our family friend Jeff. They drove all the way up from Fort Myers to Tallahassee, which is a good like 6 to 8 hours, something like that. Yeah. And they spoke up there well and presented the case to release him. And they here's the thing. So when my father first went into to prison, he was still an addict, and you're able to get drugs it's even more accessible in prison than it is on the outside. In the guards, who's bringing the drugs in? Well, the guards are bringing the drugs in. So he got caught back in 1999 with some drugs, and he hasn't really touched drugs, as far as I know, since then. That kind of woke him up because he actually almost had a heart attack in prison.
Oh, wow.
And so he was like, okay, this is enough is enough. I'm just gonna be on the straight and narrow, and really just fight my addiction and get over this thing so I can get out of here. So they brought up this charge from over 20 years ago, as if 2 decades isn't enough time pass to be like, okay, let's get him out of here. This is ridiculous.
Right.
Like, not only is it just ridiculous from just from an outsider's perspective, but also from a taxpayer perspective. They spend over $30,000 a year, so they spend over $1 million a year on a nonviolent man for a small amount of cocaine from 1993. None of it makes any sense. Dealing with government bureaucracy and authoritarianism obviously is just so frustrating, and you can never talk to anybody they need to, or even get an email back most of the time.
Yeah, it's really just frustrating.
So because one of the clemency board members mentioned this charge from 1999, the governor said that he needed more time to reflect whether they're going to release him or not.
Even though, so this clemency case got canceled 2 or 3 times because of COVID, because they couldn't simply just get on a teleconference.
Yeah, the first one was supposed to happen in April, then they moved it to June, and then this last one was in September.
So not only, I'm sure that the clemency board and the governor had Michael's file back in March when he was supposed to show up April, when the clemency meeting was supposed to happen. So I mean, like, how long has this file been sitting on your desk, and why do you need 2 more weeks to look at it?
Yeah, and also the clemency board itself has I forget what the recent budget is, but it's like a budget of anywhere from like $1 to like $3 million per year just to do this, just to review cases, just to hold these hearings 4 times a year.
Jesus.
And you can't even do that. I mean, it's just the same old thing with just government's inefficiency and bullshits. And so basically, they showed up to their job that day and weren't prepared, and yet they obviously there's no backlash because of that, because they work for the government.
Yeah, they're untouchable, unquestionable.
But
Jesus. Well, someone sent me that meme the other day of the kid standing in front of the police station and he's holding a sign that says legalize recreational cocaine. But it's a funny meme, but it's fucking kind of going that way with culture. Cannabis is legalized in a bunch of places. Right. I prefer decriminalization, of course, so the government doesn't make money off it. But yeah, psychedelics. Some places are thinking about cocaine, all kinds of other shit. So it wouldn't hurt to push those kind of movements as well, and let the people who are doing these clemency board meetings, anything like that for cases like this, see this, be like, well, shit, yeah, maybe it's not a good idea that we have these guys, these people locked up, these, victimless crimes, nonviolent offenders and whatnot. We need to shift the culture as well as pushing those government people to do the right fucking thing.
Yeah. I mean, at the same day of Michael's hearing, they also heard a case from this woman who, I think she pistol whipped somebody and hurt them violently, and this person was able to get out of jail, no problem.
Yeah, my father,
he's watched murderers and rapists go free way before him with barely any time served. It's just not fair. First of all, drug offenses are nonviolent, and it makes no sense. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
So somehow he's been able to keep it together both mentally and physically all these years. I don't know how. I mean, he's like Superman. So I can't wait for him to get out and actually, he wants, he's like, like I keep saying, he's a very smart man. He's very business oriented. I mean, we talk about, that's kind of like how we really connected more and more as I grew older, talking about the stock market, talking about, different business ideas. So he has a job waiting for him when he gets out with my aunt, who runs a pool construction business in Cape Coral, Florida. He has a bunch of, support in the community. I mean, this has been picked up on anywhere from like the USA Today to the local NBC News, local Fox affiliates, kind of all over the board. And we're just ready for his release, and we're ready for him to come home. So,
I mean, he missed our wedding. I mean, it's sad.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll be here to witness, like the first birth of his grandchild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
I really fucking hope so too. It's heartbreaking, and it's infuriating as well. But yeah, if you haven't looked in the description yet, once this is up, look there, send that email, sign the change.org petition. And I wish you guys the best with that and with Flote. And we're near the end of the episode, so one more time for everybody, tell people where they can, you can find Flote on the App Store and all that shit, but anything you want to plug it up right now, the change.org, all that stuff.
Yeah. Go to joinflote.com. That's kind of one of our easier URLs. So
and it's FLOTE.
Yeah.
So join FLOTE.com.
And you can find myself on there. I'm at King on Floats. Erin's at Erin. We still have some unique usernames. If you're looking for it, or you have something kind of like smaller. I know sometimes it's obviously harder to get those kind of usernames on the more popular platforms, but we still have some of those available. And join Flote. It takes 2 seconds. It not only does it mean a lot, but I think it's also important with this fight for free speech and privacy, online. And join the other platforms too, but definitely join Flote. And if you follow us, we'll follow you back. And what else? And then, check out
change.org petition is change.org/free Michael now.
Or you can actually go to freemichaelnow.org, and that will auto direct to the change.org petition. And if you can, please send an email out.
Nice email.
A polite email as soon as you can, because right now it's kind of like do or die. We're expecting to hear back any day. It may take longer, but we're really hoping like every day that we're going to hear back from them, since we were supposed to get started but two weeks delayed.
When did I call?
Last week sometime.
I called last week, and the governor's office said that he has not made a decision yet. So
it's really, it takes them a while to like think these things through, I guess, in low IQ or whatever. But anyway, don't put that in the email.
Repetition. Let's send them a bunch of emails. They'll see it over and over and over, and maybe it'll fucking help for once. But yeah, great.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody go check that stuff out. You'll see me on Flote. I'll post this on Flote. I'll try to be more active on there and you get better about that. I've just been doing all kinds of shit. But you'll see this episode for sure on there, and more Beyond the Ballot stuff. And now we're going to end this show and jump real quick into the short after hours. And if you want to see that, you know where to find it on Patreon, hopefully soon on Flote for a subscription service. We'll get that figured out. But yeah, thanks for coming on the show, you two. That was a lot of fun, very informative. Hopefully we can make some positive change come from listening to all this stuff, and for your dad, and for getting people over to Flote. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you having us on.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. All right, we'll see y'all next time. Beyond the Ballot is sponsored by Project Sparta. Go to projectspartacoaching.com now to learn more and get on your path to health.
Professional anarchists.
You guys are getting paid?